Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome everyone. This is a new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. It's a new episode, it's a new day, and it's also a new week. And now Kevin has joined me back in the studio. Chiranjeev is joining us via phone call. Now during the weekend a lot of things happened. One major thing was, 7th of July. It was that big day that we all were waiting for. It was the draw ceremony that took place in Mumbai. And we'll come back to the draws. We'll talk about the groups, and I shall mention you all the teams that are there in respective groups. Before that, there's something else also that happened, like you see in other news. So while the draws were happening, this particular team, Delhi Dynamos, tweeted out saying, "Hey, we are not going to retain any of the Indian players." And we were like, okay then. Kevin? Was that a surprise or?
No, never.
Yeah?
No, it was actually... No, I'm sorry. I think I got the question wrong. Yes, it was a big surprise, and it was very unusual from one of the ISL teams to just come up with a statement saying they are not going to retain any of the two players when they had the chance.
Just imagine when we're talking and we say, okay, these teams are left, and we were putting our bet. So I said, okay, Delhi might go for honors now. Because, that's how you look at it. He's played for your team, and why this attitude?
I think everybody's just picked the best players who really been, whom they can rely on, whom they have relied on. And Anas was a perfect choice. It was difficult to imagine a team, the Delhi Dynamos, without Anas, because he's done one of the I-League as well. He's got a national team call up, and he's performed well there. There was no reason for not picking him.
Yeah.
And strangely, even Keane Lewis didn't seem interesting enough for Delhi Dynamos, but a lot of reaction from the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as they put out the statement, there were all fans going that, what is wrong with you?
Exactly.
You don't retain the best players.
These two names were the ones who were the fans were taking. Why not them?
Strange, very strange. I don't know what went wrong. Probably there is a player negotiation that did not go right. Okay. Probably.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons. And secondly, I think that they talked about going aggressive in the draft. I don't know how that makes sense because you're not the only team in the draft.
Exactly. Chiranjeev, what do you make of the attitude of Delhi Dynamos?
Well, it's a budget decision, isn't it? Delhi Dynamos have been known to splurge very heavily on foreign players. I think they have made the biggest signing in the Indian football history, like the most expensive one so far, Alejandro Del Piero. I don't think anybody else even comes close to that. So and you know how that worked out for them. Thing is, they splurge a lot of money on foreign players, and this time the budget has come down. The team purse is 18 crore. So they will have less money for Indian players, and if they retain somebody, if you buy from transfer market, especially in the current scenario, now that Indian players have become a bit more important, you have to pay them good money to keep them. Okay, and you wonder who they could keep, and you think about Keane Lewis and Anasada Torika, right?
Yeah.
So if both of them would command a pretty hefty price to stay. I mean, look at Devjit Majumdar getting more than 1 crore. Even Sandesh Jhingan landing multi-crore deals. That's what it takes now. And the way Delhi Dynamos have approached the team building traditionally, they have never really spent that much on Indian players. So this is what it is now. They have decided, we will keep our focus on foreign players, signings, and we will just take what we can from the draft. To make up for the rest. I don't really think this will work out very well for them unless they get really lucky in the draft picks. But, this is what they're doing.
Yeah. Now coming back to the other team that, probably they had some really good time doing this. It was a lazy Saturday, and that's how even they were lazy. And they got on social media after a very long time, and they thought, let's tease ourselves. They were playing like a good sport, making fun of themselves, but it was really hilarious. It was beyond hilarious, I should say. I was like, what are they on? But finally, they made the announcement, and once again, no surprises here. Roland Borges and the keeper, Anish TP. I mean, they've been productive, and we've seen them being instrumental for the Northeast United. So, Kevin, no surprises here, right?
No surprises. Borges was there to stay, and Renish, to some extent, he's not been the first choice keeper for them because Subrata was there, but yet they picked Renish because of his kind of varied experience. He's played in a lot of places, and he's come up to the youth ranks, playing in some good youth teams. So a good choice there, Roland Borges, not too ahead of his game, because he's known to get that stability in midfield, and also getting the national team call up and being there for quite some time. So it makes sense to have somebody. It's more of a quite a balanced defensive call here from Northeast United.
Now, Chiranjit, were you surprised? Not at all, right? I mean, with these two signings, we were already expecting Renish to be retained by Northeast, and now we have Borges as well joining there.
It's a bit ironical, right, that the two players written by Northeast United are not from Northeast.
Yeah.
And pretty much the best talent, or literally a huge amount, let's say 60% of the current cream crop of Indian football comes from Northeast India. And you have this so-called team that claims to represent 8 states, is
has retained 2 players outside that region.
Yeah, but it's okay. This is not like a state team kind of a thing. They can sign from anywhere in India. That's professional football. It's okay. In that way, the signings are pretty good. But I fail to see what kind of big impact that will have. Okay, because Subrata Paul is a good. I can see that. Roland Borges, I think there were a couple of other picks that they could have made, and they went with star power.
Yeah.
It's okay. Bless them. They want to go with it. You can make that argument that Roland Borges, upcoming national team player, you want to lock him down for long term. Yeah, how much practical effect this will have on actual team performance, we'll see.
Okay. Well, now we shall talk about all the retentions of all the teams and the players in a coming show. In a coming episode, we shall talk in detail about all the players and give you all the teams that have taken the names, and talk about how this will be fruitful for them and what to look forward to in that so-called draft system. Now let's come back to the draws that took place, the FIFA U-17 World Cup, the first ever FIFA event hosted by India, a great occasion here. And at the draw ceremony, of course, Sunil Chhetri, PV Sindhu, Cambiaso and Kanu were present. They were the ones who were conducting the draws. Now to look at all the groups, we have Group A. Of course, the host country goes into it automatically, and there's India, USA, Colombia and Ghana. That's Group A, which will take place in Delhi, the capital of India. Now Group B has Paraguay, Mali, New Zealand and Turkey. It will take place in Mumbai. Group C has Iran, Guinea, Germany, Costa Rica. That will happen in Goa. Group D, we call it a group of death over here. Korea, Niger, Brazil, Spain. It's happening in Kerala. Group E has Honduras, Japan, New Caledonia, France. It's happening in Guwahati. And finally, Group F has Iraq, Mexico, Chile and England. That's happening in Kolkata. Now, let's come back to Group A. We shall definitely talk about each group, all the other teams as when we are, reaching the dates, nearing in on the dates. Now, since we're talking about India, let's talk about Group A. Chiranjit, what was your reaction like? India, USA, Colombia and Ghana.
Yeah, I was hearing about, remember those allegations of fixing in the draw?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how like the balls have different temperatures and how that happens. And then Sunil Gulati comes on and says, yeah, I want to see India and USA play on the first day.
Yeah.
And then India and USA get put in the same group immediately and they play on the first day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? And okay, this was not the complete worst luck that they could have had, India, but this is far from the best luck we could have had. I mean, just look at this. We put up the story on the fangirl.com. You can check it out about the three opponents that India will be facing in the group stage. I mean, all of these teams have been there so often,
Yeah.
Like Colombia have been playing in the FIFA Under-17 World Cup for a long time. Everybody has made at least 6-7 appearances in the Under-17 World Cup. Ghana has won it twice.
Yeah, twice.
And they just reached the CONCACAF finals. United States, African Cup of Nations Under-17 finals, Ghana reached and lost to Mali. United States, again, so much of a better team than India. India is definitely the underdog, prime contender for a fourth finish. Let's see if the boys can do some miracle. But we're going to need a major miracle. And if they even win one match, it will be, let's say, among the top 3 major victories in Indian football history, if that happens.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed. Will be there, will be the new updates during the World Cup. Let's just hope something happens. Keep praying. We need 3 months of prayers leading up to this.
Yeah. Kevin, what do you see? Do you see a chance? Do you see scoring goals, getting those 3 points?
I think it's time that we face reality. Hosting the World Cup does not give you any sort of leverage to get an easy draw. And it's never easy. Any team that has played in the World Cup before means they are better prepared than us. You already have the experience. You have a team that knows the pressure. And India has not been doing too well in at least in any age category if you go to see. So it's going to be tough. First thing what comes in mind is when you look at these teams and you compare them with the senior national team. Okay, USA, I don't think they've done too well in the senior World Cup. So it's too easy for India.
Exactly.
And then you look at Ghana. Okay, Ghana is champions of Africa. But under-17 World Cup, no. Again, see, it's not the senior World Cup teams that we're looking at over here. It's the structure that is based or that is created for these young sides, and they are much ahead of us. It'll take us years to get to that level, and it does not make us negative over here. It's a test.
Yeah.
Getting a World Cup in India, it wasn't an easy thing to do, and preparations are going right by what we've heard about from the venues that are being prepared and inspected. It's going to be something like as a big question mark whether we are in the right direction for preparation, because getting into the World Cup is also a big step.
Right.
These countries have qualified and they've come through. We've hosted. That's the reason we are playing this World Cup. But playing those 3 matches, how we perform over there against these teams, is all going to tell us how we'll be further progress into like 3 or 4 years down the line.
Yeah.
Because
it's always...
Indian football is in a transition phase. Yeah. Things are getting streamlined. We are getting a sort of a structure to Indian football. Please don't talk about the merger here. Let's not take this negatively in any manner, that the team that's tougher than us. The measure of how we perform in the World Cup is really not going to tell us that we did well or no. It's how our preparation was for the World Cup, and have we done justice to that? Because we've organized, I'm not saying it was again part of the preparation, but we did get exposure to us for a length, at a good length, exposure in the topmost countries in Europe.
Yeah.
And we were there for quite some time. That really helps us to understand that are we there yet or not? The results were definitely not in favor. You consider any performance, we did not even come close to saying that we are better than those teams. But this World Cup is just the test for us if we can get the preparations right.
It's our first step into the right direction. And it's always a learning experience. So it doesn't matter if we win or lose, as much as we can grasp and learn that which will help us in the future. I think that's what we should look at, and let's be positive, just like you mentioned. Now, Chiranjit, just to develop on a bit more, now we have two other new teams, right, who are playing for the first time in the World Cup. What do you see their chances as? That's New Caledonia and Niger. What do you see about them? Are they on the same lines of India, or they're still better than India?
Niger are a bit better. I think they did well in the African Cup of Nations earlier. And New Caledonia, we should not really be comparing us to New Caledonia. That's a super tiny country which has hardly any presence in the in the world football map. But look, I think the real benchmark of how we are doing is whether we can put up a fight against the likes of Ghana and USA or not, and Colombia as well. I don't really expect us to, win, conquer the moon in the 2017 World Cup, but the players being exposed to that level of competition is going to come in handy. Maybe, India gets to host the even 2019 Under-19 World Cup or something. Maybe these players will go forward and, when they come to the Indian national team, they will get us to do better in the Asian Cup, in the Asian level, because that's literally what we have to do. If we are not making the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup, forget World Cup. So it's always a step-by-step thing. And if this team, just gets us a little bit better in Asia and gets us into the, top 60 world ranking ballpark, that will be pretty good, for this generation. And then let's see how the kids who are under 13 or under 12 right now, how that generation develops. So it's a step-by-step process. Let's not put, a mountain of expectations on this team. Let's just see them develop, because under 17 at the end of the day is a developmental tournament, whether it's a World Cup or not.
Right. Now we had... Now we're coming back, as we just said, that we shall talk about all of these groups and the other respective teams once we are nearing the date. And October 6th, that's the first match, India versus USA. Moving on, now the India under-23 team are on an exposure trip to Singapore. We mentioned that the USA trip couldn't happen, but they were in Singapore and they played against the Singapore under-23 team. And we came out victorious, a 1-0 victory. That was the scoreline courtesy of Jarmanpreet. That's how you pronounce his name, or Jarmanpreet Singh. In the 80th minute, that a goal was scored. And Kevin, what do you see here? Do you see that the exposure trip going in the right direction? And
I think the exposure tour did not happen. It's just two friendlies that we're getting to play. It's part of the preparation to the AFC qualifiers championship that we are getting to. So again, this is close to the national team. Under 23 is present. It consists of most of the players who've been called or played for the national team.
Like the future slot of...
Yeah. So a lot more expectation than the under 17 World Cup team. This is being looked over by the national team coach himself, Stephen Constantine. So again, not to expect too much, because we're not there at the ASL level as yet, but doing well, doing well better than what we performed last time is what we should be looking at.
Right. So Ranjit, what do you make of this? A 1-0 victory against the under 23 Singapore team.
Yeah, okay. And this is actually a bit significant because a lot of the players who have been with the under-23 team regularly in the past and have actually played regularly in the I-League as well, they have been dropped / rested or whatever it is. And, there's a lot of controversy going on regarding the player pick for this Singapore tour. I don't think Constantine has dropped them completely. I think this is a chance for him to evaluate some other players and see how they stack up. And yeah, we went and we beat Singapore, which is significant, which is nice. but I sort of expect a little bit better than Singapore at this point. But yeah, this is you don't take anything away. This is a team that did not really play regularly in the I-League, and they have not played that many games for the Indian under-23. So it's good for them. Good that we are getting a bit more squad depth even at the under-23 level, because even that tournament is going to be pretty important next year, the under-23 championship.
Yeah. Now, that kind of sums up today's show, but before we say goodbye, we have an interesting news that is once again, this man just makes us proud, all the Indian football fans proud. Now, AFC announced their magazine, AFC Quarterly, and it features none other than Sunil Shetty on their cover. Whoa. So, yeah, it's the cover story, the main guy. And kind of very pleased, and this man will really take us to the heights. But the one question that loiters around is who next?
Who's next?
Who's next, right?
So it was Baichung in the earlier generation of footballers for India whom we really relied on and who performed well. Now it's Chetri. But who's the next?
We'll get it. We are having a good under-23 team coming up, so don't worry, we'll get it. We'll be there soon. And now, just like you heard, folks, we did mention that we shall, in the coming episodes, you have to expect from us is we shall talk about all the players that have been retained by the ISL teams, and we shall talk about it, how they will be instrumental and what to look forward to in the draft system and what will be the agenda behind this big season coming up, the simultaneous season that's going to be played. Now, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this show, and interesting episodes coming ahead. That's all I have to say, and it's a great start to the week. Now, if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get updates of our new episode. You can also listen to us on Audioboom, SoundCloud, iTunes, and various other podcasting apps. Have a great day. You can also read about all these stories on our website, thefangarage.com. You can talk to us directly on Twitter, Chiranjit Oja, Boza_Kevin, Siju Matthew 94. Have a great day, folks. Come back to us tomorrow because you don't want to miss out on any of the episodes coming next. Cheers and have a great day.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started ATKT.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through ATKT.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. ATKT.in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.